Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, RPGMaker Tutorials. In this tutorial I will show you how to create a little jump for your player so you can jump over, like here, over water or whatever you like, and this without doing hundreds of objects or hundreds of events to check each position, and so it does this automatically if you just go into the editor, then you drag some water around. After this you take a region, put it here on all these spots where you could possibly jump, and you need this region. I will show you how you use this, and after this you can start the game and you can automatically jump over those as well without setting any new objects, so all you need are those 3 events. Alright, so let's start. So I begin with a new project, and the first thing we have to do is set up variables. So the thing is, what we will do is we create an event and set it in front of a player and make it go forward until it hits another region, and then it will give us back the distance and how long the jump has to be. So we can start off with simply putting some water here. Doesn't matter that it doesn't really look nice at the moment. Oh, we take this one. It still doesn't look nice, but it doesn't matter. And now we need to create an object, and we need to check the distance and set up the object which will be spawned in front of a player. So what we do here, we create an object and call it set. So you can call it whatever you like, but I like to have some names with which indicates what this is doing. So we need this, then we make it a parallel process to make it run all the time by itself, and then we need 2 variables. So for the player position, so this is player X, and I can also create the next one, player Y, and we choose player X, hit OK, use set and set it to game data character player map X. After this we do the same for the Y variable, so I copied this one and paste it here. So now I choose player Y and I choose the map Y of a player. So those variables will store the position of a player. After this I will use get location info, and this is needed to check because we will use those regions. We want to check if the player or something else is standing on a region. So we create a new variable. So we need this so we can check what region is used at the moment, or what region is something staying on top. We call this simply player region and set it to, of course we need to set it to region ID and set it to player X and player Y. So after this we can check if the player is on a certain region. So what we want to do is, if the player is on that region and presses a button, he will be allowed to jump. So we need to check if player region is equal to, I just take 7, I don't know why. You can take whatever region you like. And yeah, that's it for now. Of course we can hit OK first and use a region, and so I used region 7, so you can choose whatever you like. I just use this for no reason. So these are all the spots where the player can jump. And basically what we are doing is if a player is staying on this 7 for instance, and presses the OK button, then he will jump to this position. So he will jump until the next 7 appears and stop right here. So you do this, so we already check if player is staying on region 7. So if I walk over this 7 in game, then this here is executed. So, and now we need to check if player is pressing if a player is pressing a button, which is okay in my case, so you can choose whatever button you like, but use this one. And the next thing we need to check in what direction is the player facing. So we set up for all directions, so we know in which direction our player has to jump. And here we use else, create an else branch. So we set player is facing down. Now we can copy this little thing here and paste it under else and edit it and set it to left. And now we can copy it again, paste it under else, edit it, set it up to right, and in the last case we can copy this again and paste it again and set it up to up. And here we don't need an else branch because we covered all directions that the player can face. So if he's facing down, he should jump down. If he's facing left, he should jump left and right and up. Alright, so now we have all the directions, and now we can... So just to explain, we need another event. This will be our event that it will spawn in front of a player and count the steps until the next 7 appears. And afterwards our player will jump. So, but this is, you won't really notice that distance check. This is what we also call it. So distance check, we want it only to be activated by a switch, and we call it jump start. And we make it a parallel process. And if this gets activated, then we will calculate the distance to the next 7. So we go back to our first event, so set distance, start position. And now we can say what should happen. So in this case, the player is facing down, so we have the X and Y coordinate. So let's say the player is staying here. So you see the X coordinate would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So his position is X. X is 6. Y is 7. And so in this case, he's facing down, so let's put him to this position when he actually is facing down. So if he's on this position, which is 8 and 4, so x is 8 and y is 4. So this event should be spawned here, or should be put here, and then it counts the steps until it reaches the field with the 7. And if it reaches that point, after that we can tell our player how long his jump should be. And this is what we want to do now. So to get the position of a player -1, or in this case +1, because you see here the y coordinate is 4 and we want it to spawn here, 1 in front of him. So the only thing that changes is the little 4 here on the y-axis. So if I put him, and it doesn't matter where I put him, if I put him here, you see it's 11.5, and one field in front of him, it's 11.6. So so we can see that the y coordinate always at 1. So we need to do this, and we do it not here. We do it in the set distance change start position, and we got the player position here, and after that we simply just tell him to use this variable, but add 1 to it, like we saw. So now the variable is on this position, 1 in front of a player if he's facing down. If we want to do this for the, and one mistake I made, it should be the y coordinate on this one. So y plus 1 is 1 in front of a player if he's facing down. We need to do the same for if he's facing left. And here we choose player X and set it not set, we need to subtract 1. So it will be player X -1. And if you can see, if the player is facing left, so you want to go 1 step to the left, you see the difference of the X coordinate. It's going to be -1. So if I stay here and go 1 in front of a player, it's always -1. Just to demonstrate, if I stay here, it's 2, 3. Now it's 1, 3. Alright, so, and we have to do it for the other directions as well. So in this one we need to add 1 on the X coordinate if he's facing right, and the last option is if he's facing down, we need to change the Y coordinate again and subtract 1. And now we know all the positions of a player. Now we go, so we have this, and now we set up the position where the object here should spawn, and now we simply do a set event location to spawn that event on those variables. So we just take the distance check and put it on those 2 variables that we change on every direction. And yeah, to test this, we could simply now give this object an image that we will erase later. So we could use this thing here, and okay, of course we need to do another thing. We need to reset the position of a player, so we can simply use this both controls here, copy them and put it under this. So now the monster gets set to the position in front of a player, and after that the player X and Y coordinate gets set back to the original position of a player. And of course we need to set our jump start to on, and we need a new page and just say jump start so nothing happens. So we simply, what we are going to do now is we can delete this page. We can, so just simply you can see what's happening. Alright, so but we will add this page later on. So all that should happen now is if I stay on a field with a number 7, an object should be spawned in front of me, depending on what direction I'm looking at. Let's test it out. So if I'm here, there's the object in front of me. If I'm here, the object is in front of me. If I'm going from this side, object is in front of me. And also here, the object spawns in front of me. And this is exactly what we wanted. So now we go back to this, add a switch, a jump start. So we don't want to spawn the object whenever we press. We just want it to spawn either after a jump was made. So simply this shouldn't get spammed. So just set it to on. Just do it. Alright, so that's it for the first page. We don't need to do anything more. Now there comes a bit of a... yeah, it's maybe a bit more, but not that much. So we can use this now. And we want to actually check the distance between this, or between this and this. So how we do it? It's simple, pretty simple. We need two variables. So we need the x and y coordinate of a distance check. So we use control variable, create new variable, and we will use this, call this distance check1 x, and set it to game data and to distance check map x. Hit OK. After this we can copy this and paste it and edit it. So we do the same for the distance check y. So we have both coordinates. Use map y. And now we need again a get location info. We can, now that we already have set up the location, so what we're gonna do now, we set up the location of this thing in front of a player. So it's on purpose that we set this thing. So let's say the player is staying here, and it's on purpose that it spawns one in front of a player, not on the player, because then it would be on a field with a 7. And we do it like that, so it spawns in front of a player and goes to the next 7 that it reaches. And this is the reason why we need a new get location info and check for the region 7. So we can use get location info. We can call this distance region. So it's a distance check region. And we set it to the x and y of the distance check. Set info type to region ID and hit OK. And now we can do a conditional branch and simply ask for the region again as we did before. So distance region, if it's 7. If this happens, then we know that the distance was calculated. And yeah, so when it reaches 7, we can use a switch and say, call it distance calculated, and set it to true. So if it reaches 7, then this will happen. If not, it will do something else. And in this case, we will check again if the player is facing in each direction. So we know if a player is facing down, then it has to go down. When it's facing right, it has to go right. And so what we need is all of this again. So player is facing down, left, right, up. So with an else branch, we take this and we can paste it now under the else every time. And here we make it left, here we make it right, and here we will choose up, and here we can delete the else branch. And now we need to check what should happening when the player is facing down. So basically this thing should go down, 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 down until it reaches a field with a number 7. And we do this by we need another thing. This is, well, we can implement that later. So we need to determine if the jump is horizontal or vertical, So we use a jump mode variable. We simply call it jump mode and set this to 1 in this case. So if it's 1, then we know that the player should be jumping up and down. We need that later, just keep it. So, and if we need this for up and down, and if it's left or right, then we will set it to 2. And can copy this and paste it here. So if it's go up and down, jump mode will be 1. If the player is facing left or right, it will be 2. Now the next thing we need to check is we need to set the jump distance. So you can see that distance calculated, which will be a new, so we can do this here. We make a new page and call it distance calculated. So when it reaches the region number 7, distance calculated gets turned on, and so it won't do all the stuff. It won't do it anymore. It will just stay at this page. And so that's why we need this. And if this is not given, so if he not reached a field, then he should go to the next field, and next, and next, and next, until he reaches this. And now we need to set here, we need another variable for the jump distance. So we can say here jump distance, and add 1. So we know, alright, in the first, he goes through this code, and if it hasn't reached a region with number 7, jump distance gets set +1. That's because it's here. Then, okay, it doesn't reach the field, then the thing will go one further, and the jump distance increases with every step, so we know how long the jump needs to be in the end. So we turn jump distance +1, and we also We also set the player y variable +1. Because we will need that later. And now we will do here another yeah, that's why we set the player y +1, because we need to put the object one field further away from the player. So our player is now player y, and here it will add 1, and then in the next circle it will add 1 again, so it's 2, and then it will add 1 again and again and again until we have our jump distance and we reach that region. So player y has to be added +1, and now we set the event location of the distance check to player x and y, which we recalculated here. And yeah, that's it for facing down. And yeah, I already used those here. So we can copy these 3 things, copy it and paste it under every of those here. And now we need to edit it. So if for the different facing directions. So if he's facing left, the jump distance should be -1, because you want to go left, so we have to jump in another direction, so we need to subtract 1. And we also set the player x in this case to -1. So we subtract 1 of the player x coordinate, because you remember the x coordinate is the first, so if it's on 5 for instance and he's facing left, the next one should be 4, the next one 3, and so on. So we use this, and then I made a mistake. You need to edit this here and set the y coordinate to player y, obviously, because you don't want to get weird things to happen. So just edit all of those here to player y in all of those distance set event locations. Yeah, you have to be really careful if you do stuff here. So now we are facing left. We set the jump mode to 2, jump distance -1, player x -1, and now we set the event location to the player. Now we need to do it for facing right and left, right and up. So in this case, for the right side, we want to increase the x coordinate by 1. And the jump distance can be added also. So this is alright. And for the up direction, we need to subtract 1 from the jump distance. And we also need to subtract 1 from the y position. So you can simply check this by, you should have 2 times plus for the jump distance and 2 times minus, and you also should have player y and +1 and -1, and player x +1 and -1. And now we have the distance check. So we could just tell him to say the distance between our player and between the object and the next 7. So we can simply give out a message here which says, which variable is it? Jump distance is variable 8. So we can simply tell him to give us the jump distance. So what I expect to happen now is that I go to a field, press OK, and then it should start to walk in the direction and tell me the distance. See? So the distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's the next 7 field. So it was pretty fast, just we can, yeah, but you saw how it works, I hope. So we can do it again and add a little wait timer on the end here. So we do like, yeah, 30 frames should be enough. But we delete this afterwards. I just want to show you what happens, or how it looks, what happens. So I go to this field, I press OK, and you see it's working there. And if it reached that field, it tells me that those are 5 steps until I reach the ground again. Alright, now we can delete these frames again. And that's almost it, to be honest. So we have the distance check, we know how far we have to jump. And now we can go to our next page. It's distance calculated, and set it to a parallel process. And can also say, so this is where, you remember we set the jump mode, so we know we need to jump horizontal or vertical. So in this case, we use those variables that we set. So we say if variable jump mode is 1, yeah, we don't can use an else range, we don't need to, but we probably should. So if jump mode is 1, then we want to make our player jump a specific, so we say that you can see the jump, you have to give it in coordinates. That's where we use the jump distance. So that's why we calculated the jump distance. We want the player to jump depending on the jump distance we calculated. So if it's 5 like before, it should be x is 5, and if it's to the left, then it should be -5 and stuff like that. And you see the problem here is that you can't use variables in here. So this is the only place where we actually need a script call. And the script call, which I already prepared, does exactly the same. So as if so the script call I now use, it does the same than just jumping. If I use jump, it does the same, but I can include a variable here and tell him not non-fixed values. So first what we do is through on, so we can go over water. Then we use our script call for the jump, which is this jump 0. So for the jump mode 1, so you remember this is x, and then comes the y coordinate. And for the y coordinate we want to use our variable which we called jump distance. So I don't remember if it was number 5 here, so let me take a quick look. we're on page 1, we had jump distance number 8. So we need to edit it and edit and set this to number 8. So just to make it, to understand it a bit better, we set the jump mode to 1, which tells us that the player has to jump up and down. So it's in this direction, up and down. It's not left to right. So we will set the first coordinate. So this is X. And this is the Y coordinate in this case. But we need to use a variable here. That's why I do not simply use a number here. So we use $game variables value and use the value of our calculated distance. And set OK. Now after this we say through off. And it's OK. Now we need to do the same. So we copy this for the other jump mode. So we need to do it for left and right. So here we don't need an else branch. Here we do it for the left and right jump. So we can edit this. And we use the same game variable. We can cut it out and replace the first value with this and set the 0 to the second value, because here we want to change our X value to our calculated distance, and here we want to change our Y value to the calculated distance. Not to the calculated distance, the Y should be 0 and X should be calculated distance. Alright, we hit OK. And now we have this. After that happens, so we set it to wait, don't forget it, it's important. So it will wait until the jump is done, and afterwards we simply need to turn everything off again. So we use our switch, jump start. Oh no, so first we need to use our variable jump mode and set it back to 0. So basically after the jump we reset everything to the normal state. So we set jump mode to 0. We set jump distance to 0. We set our switch jump start to off. We set our switch distance calculated to off. And now we should be good to go, to be honest. So let's see if we can start this. I run to the field, press X, you see? Whoop. So the thing is, you see, we go to, I don't know why it's coming back, but I handle this later, so I handle it now, to say. The thing is, so we need the third event to deactivate that monster after the sign. So you can see, we can already do the jump, but if we press the button, it will just run back to us. So it's kind of hard to explain, but basically what's happening is, if we are staying on this field and press the button, then it will go there, and afterwards it stays there, and our player jumps here. So both are on the same space, and the player is still facing right. So if I press now, because I'm staying on the 7th field, it goes to the right direction. And if I turn again to jump to this direction, it simply goes back to this position. So we need to make sure that this thing gets erased after a certain time. We simply want this to not stay here. We want it yeah. We need to erase this thing, just trust me. So how do we do it? We create a new event, call it deactivate jump after time. Just to make clear what this does, we use a switch. So when the jump starts, and of course we make it a parallel process, when the jump starts, we wait, let's say 20 frames, and after those 20 frames it should turn everything off. So we can simply hit OK, and go back to this event because we already turned everything off here. So we can go here and hit OK. So to copy more than one thing, you simply select all of those. So you press here, hit Shift, press on the last one, hit CTRL plus C, and then you copy it. And on this page you hit CTRL plus V, and then you can copy it here, and now it gets deactivated after a few frames. So now the jump shouldn't be weird anymore, I guess. So we play a new game, do the jump, we can jump again, and now you see the thing comes back. So what we need to do here now is we need to so where is it? So on this thing we need to erase the text because we don't want the text to appear. And we also can erase the graphic of a monster, so you don't need to see where the monster comes. So it isn't a monster anymore, it's just an empty object. And now you can see that you can happily jump around without using hundreds of events for every space here. Now there's one problem that appears if you have multiple water sources, let's say it like that. So basically what happens now is let's do it like that. So if our player is staying on this field with the region 7 and is so he's staying on a field and can jump normally. So if he's looking to the left, and so the thing is we would do it like this normally, just to demonstrate it. That's probably also not so good. But it should work. So we do it like this, we would use this. And in this case, the player, if we work up from here to here to here, he is facing left. And our dummy will go to this position, then this position, then this position, and he will start to jump from here to here. So I can simply demonstrate it to you. So you can see if I walk to this, he jumps to this field, and we don't want this to happen. We just want him to jump around here, like that. And the same as in this case, so if I go here and jump, see, he will jump to this direction. And we don't want this to happen. So the thing is, we can use another region, simply use it here. And before the player check comes for the facing direction and stuff, you can hit cut and include another region. You can get another, not location info, you can use conditional branch and can select a variable, the distance region, and check for number 6. We will use number 6, create an else branch, and if if he hits region number 6, then something else should happen. Now we go to this here and use paste, and now our logic is if it hits something with region 7, distance calculator get turned on. If it hits something with the region 6, then we simply want to do turn it off. So that maybe makes no sense right now, but I will demonstrate it to you as always. So we use the region 6, and on each of those fields where the player can walk up to, like if he walks from this side, goes here, he's facing left and the 7 is on the other side, you can simply put a 6 in here. The thing is, the script, I think it won't work, so we need just a bit more space between the C. So at least 1, 2, 3. So we need at least, we can't do them close together. We need at least 3 spaces. So that we can, so here is the jump area again. And we use the 6 as a border between it. So whenever this thing reaches a 6, he simply won't jump. That's what we want to do. So we go back to our region 6 and we go to page 2 because we already did this here, and as you maybe remember, you click on the so we want to turn it off simply, so just nothing should happen. So we click here, use shift, click on the last one, press Ctrl plus C, go back to page 1, click here, Ctrl plus V, and done. Now everything should work as intended. So as you can see, I can happily jump around, and if I'm facing to the left, I don't know if you hear it, but I press the button and nothing happens. And now he can jump around and simply nothing happens. Even if I go here and press, nothing happens. Oh, this was weird, but I guess you have to live with it. And that's it. So now you can easily extend your little seas or whatever you like. So this the advantage of this is that you can easily create new water sources, because the way you normally do it is, well, that most of you people would do is create an event here and let him jump 3 tiles. Create an event here, let him jump 2 tiles. Create an event here, let him jump 3 tiles. And with this method, you only need 3 tiles, 3 events. And to create a new water source, you could simply do something like that, and you can create it really, really fast. So now you go to region, set the number 7 to this. So you need just to go around the water everywhere where the player can stand, but don't do this. You need to leave those out. And now you can see, and wherever this 7 would reach another 7, you have to put the region 6. So now you can see that here it's a region 6 between, so it acts as a border. So you won't go up and jump to this spot. And now I do the last run, and you will see that I can jump all across those things here. And if I go up, he won't jump to the field there. Just the last thing I want to tell you is you can add here another condition here and simply ask if the jump distance, or you can do it here, I guess. Yeah. So if it jump distance, like you could do it like that, you can say like, because with this method you can make a C which is 100 tiles long, and if he would still jump over the whole thing. So if you want to do only like that he has a maximum of like 5 fields that he can jump, so you could simply say here you could simply say if jump distance is greater than 5, then you do this thing again. So you deactivate everything. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, whenever you go to a field which is bigger than 5, you won't be able to jump over it. See? This won't happen. Here you can see it's bigger than 5, but here you see it's smaller than 5. So this is the maximum distance. I don't know why he did that jump. Apparently he can do it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I hope you see what I mean. So you can't jump over large. Okay, yeah, that isn't supposed to happen. Whatever. That just end by that, but in most cases this thing works. If you can leave out the distance thing if you like, and you can simply do whatever you want here. You could also include other obstacles that don't need to be water. So anyway, that's it for now. See ya and have fun with your jumping thingy.